Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, March 15th, 2022. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent, and founder of the Notary Business Builder Advanced Notary Mastermind. I'm here usually with oh, there she is, right here. Perfect timing, skidding in sideways.
Skidding in sideways.
Laura Biewer, thank you so much. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, all. I'm Laura Biewer. I'm founder of Coach Me Laura and the Notary Symposium, an annual event for notaries by notaries. I am also co-founder and faculty on the Notary Business Builder. So some of you I will see and know from there, and it's great to be here today.
Definitely. Thank you all for carving a little bit of time out of your Tuesday afternoon to grow yourself and your business. The way that TNT works, it's like an old-fashioned call-in radio show, except we're on video. You just use the raise hand feature on Zoom, and we will call on you. When you ask a question, please remember the question format, give us a little bit of context, get right to your question, and then mute yourself and give Laura and I an opportunity to answer your question. Also, before you start, tell us what state you're in, because that can impact the answer for you. All right, and then we have a couple of announcements that we're going to get to a little later on, but let's just dive in right now and get some of these questions answered. Apollonia, I'm going to go to you because you had your hand up first, and I know you're having some audio issues. Would you like to unmute and ask your question if you're in a good place?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, sure can. Loud and clear.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Bill and Laura. Thank you so much for taking my question. My question is, are there any docs in a real estate transaction that has an unspoken rule where a specific document should be signed or initialed at the bottom if there is no signature or initial line indicated? So, payoff statement.
Okay.
For example, the payoffs, the mortgage payoff statement, or okay. Laura, can you think of any documents where there's an unspoken rule that says this should be initialed even if it's not indicated?
Okay, I don't know of any unspoken rules. I know there are documents that do not have a line maybe indicated, or there's just an X and nothing else. And those are typically like pest control reports and other kinds of extra documents towards the back of the package that they want them to sign. And you should realize by the X there, that's what's supposed to happen. But I'm not aware of an unspoken rule that says I should know when that should happen.
I agree. There's sometimes you'll find some tax paperwork or what we call letters of explanation, where a borrower is submitting an explanation as to why something is a certain way, why their credit was or a payment was late or something like that. And those are expected to be signed. And I always add the date just to be safe because I don't want to make two trips. But there's not, especially on the payoff letter, there's not in my experience, expectation of that. Is that helpful, Apollonia?
Yes, thank you so much. And I have one other question for you, Laura. I print everything that on the notarial certificate, I print. I do not write in cursive with the exception of my signature at the notary signature line.
Right.
Oftentimes when I get split packages, the second notary or the first notary, they cursive write the entire certificate. I've never read a policy or a rule that said you should print or cursive write. What do you do? Do you cursive write your notarial certificates with the venue, the name signers, and your certificates, or do you do both?
So I print everything except my signature. I don't think you're going to find it in the handbook at the top level, but if you call your Secretary of...
Sorry, Laura, you just got muted.
I think you're going to hear from them. They prefer or want it to be printed because people's handwriting is a lot of times, even when they try to be legible, are not legible. So I would only recommend printing everywhere except the signature line, and that should be cursive or whatever your signature looks like there.
Great
Perfect.
question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Apollonia.
Bill, can I add something to that letter explanation? Henry from
Sure,
New York.
Henry.
Yeah, yesterday I had to sign in, and there was a letter of explanation why the daughter had a certain amount of money coming out of her checking account, and she wrote a letter about how she was helping out her mom. So that letter was there. It wasn't signed, so I had her sign it, and I had printed out an extra one to leave blank, but I had her sign one of them, and the other one I left blank.
I think that's a great idea. I usually don't go above and beyond to send a blank one, because if the lender needs it, they can just print it out themselves, right? They already have that. That's who we got the documents from. But I think that's totally okay to do that.
Watch it. Now you're going to the gift? Because
All right, guys, I'm going to ask everybody to
Yeah,
please
please.
keep themselves on mute. We're
back
going
it up.
crazy here. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. Thank you, Henry. All right, Sabella, thank you so much for being here. Glad to see you.
Hey, Bill, thank you for having me. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. How can we help today?
Yes, I'm in Florida. And the other day, something unique happened to me. Just wanted to share your thoughts, and Laura, on how would you handle the situation. I was called to attend a, I was called to go to a signing in a law office here in the Miami area. And they told me that the package was gonna be there for me to notarize. So I never saw the documents prior to the signing. So when I got there, I was led to a conference room where the borough was waiting for me. And the way they gave me the package, that was actually not, I could not see the documents of the refinance. It was just a cover page saying this is where the CD is going to be, and the notarial page. Then another cover page saying this is where the certain document was going to be. So it was just that, and then one page with the name of the person that was signing, and he gave me his passport. He was actually from Canada, and I just notarized all the documents. There was nobody to ask questions. I was just wondering if you ever see anything like that. I felt a little bit uncomfortable just stamping almost like pages without actually seeing any of the documents behind that. So what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, great question, Sabella. Thank you for bringing that up here on Tuesday Notary Times. That's a great question. Laura, I'd love to hear your take on this.
So my take is one word: unacceptable. I need documents. I don't need certificate pages. So I need all of it together to perform an acknowledgement. I need the signature page and the document that goes to that for every one of them. And I have had that happen to me twice. Once was just a signer, and she thought she was doing me a favor, and she just pulled out all the certificate pages and said, here they are. And I made her go back and find the places where they go back so that I could handle the package. And another time, I went into an office where they had done the same thing, again, thinking it would be easier for me to do that. And I would tell you, as a notary, I would never notarize anything unless I had a document to go with it. Bill,
Okay.
Anything different?
No, nothing different here. But what I will say is that when I encounter this the most, or I hear about it now a lot from notaries, is usually in law offices. And it's usually by attorneys who just have their own system for doing things. And sometimes in some states, attorneys are notaries without, just by default for being an attorney. So they don't quite know how everything is supposed to work for traditional notaries. So you can try an educational standpoint and just asking them, oh, here's actually what I need to see happen in order for me to notarize these. Sometimes it goes great and sometimes it doesn't. It's a great opportunity for you to know who you want to work for and who you don't. So sometimes attorneys can bulldoze you a little bit, and you've got to know what you can do and what you can't do. That's part of the integrity of our office, and know when to walk away. Or educate them and show them the importance of having the full document in front of you.
Thank you.
Now that it's happened, should you get another call like that, you will know, you might want to ask, will you be providing me the entire document, signature page and certificate?
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because it was such an intimidating setting. I was in one of the most expensive and secure buildings in Brickell Key here in the Miami area. Just to go through the door of the law office, I went to go through like 5 security places, and I was escorted to a huge conference room when somebody from Canada was waiting for me to just stamp all these documents, and not even greeted by any legal person, or, so I felt so out of place and uncomfortable in that scenario, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Yeah, totally understandable. And that's one of those things that you could read about in any book, or you could listen to this on TNT all day long, but until you're in that situation, you don't fully appreciate it. And I think we've all been there. I know Laura has, I certainly have. It's extremely intimidating, but now you know this is something that could happen. And I think if you address this in the beginning by asking more questions, you'll get to the bottom of it, and you can set the expectation from the very beginning. This is what I'm going to need. Does this still work for you?
Right.
If I would say I need the documents and they would say documents are not ready, would you, in my shoes, would just walk away without performing the notarization?
So if it was on the call and they said, well, we don't have the documents prepared yet, but we'll have them at the signing, then fine, I'm fine with that. You just want to make it clear that when you're sitting at that table, you're going to need the full document. And if they have expectations of something different, then you might not be the right notary for them.
Okay, thank you. Really appreciate your insights on that, both of you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for bringing that up. That's one we haven't heard in a long time, right, Laura?
Yeah.
All right. So Lisa from New Jersey, thanks for being here. How can we help today?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay, I'm in New Jersey, but I'm really not. I've been in Florida for a couple months, heading back home the end of this week. But I was wondering if anybody is doing anything regarding increasing their prices, even temporarily, due to the fact that we are mobile service providers and the price of gas has, up substantially. And if so, how are they handling it?
Yeah, great question, Lisa. And I know we've heard lots of perspective on this. Laura, do you want to jump in? I think we just talked about this on one of the NBB calls.
Yeah. So personally, I'm not raising my travel fees. I set my travel fees based on how far I've got to go in the first place. So I don't have a one flat fee that says I'll drive 30 minutes for the same price that I drive 10 minutes. So I don't feel that the extra $1 or $2 that I had to expend to perform that travel part is enough for me to pass that on at this time. I'm not saying that there won't come a time when I might change my mind, but an extra $1 a gallon. I drive a Prius. I don't drive an SUV. So for me, it's not impacting me to do that. And I just would rather not have to pass on yet another increase amongst all the other increases we all experience. I already have my commission. I already have my certificates. I already have pretty much everything that I need. So the gas is the only thing really rising in my business at the moment, but it's not enough since I limit my territory to pretty much my town. And if I'm going to go outside of my town, it's a negotiated price after that. So that's what I'm doing.
And then
Yeah.
I'll totally agree. I love that system. And I think there's two ways of looking at this. There's the general or specialty notary work component, which I think you have, if your state allows you to have some fluctuation in your travel fees, then you can build that in there without even having a conversation, right? This isn't I'm going to tack on a fuel surcharge. I would not advise that to anybody, no matter what. Because it can be a trigger for some people. If you're going to do a quote your fee, and that's your fee. And you, in your head, you've already calculated, all right, I know there's rising fuel costs and that's what I'm going to charge for this. On the loan signing side, it's a little bit different. You know, for escrow direct, if you're already getting $150 to $200 per signing, it's the expectation is that that's already built in. That cost of doing business is already built into your fee. Where I see this really becoming a problem is when you're working for signing companies that already are paying $60, $70, $80 for a loan signing appointment, then this is where you're gonna really feel the crunch. And if that's you, if you're on this call and you're relying on signing company business and those are the fees that you're getting, then yeah, I think it's absolutely critical, because your margins are already really small at that rate, to start asking for an increase in your fees, whether it's 25, 50, whatever you decide for yourself. I think that's going to be absolutely important for your success. Lisa, did that answer your question? I put you on mute because we had some background noise there.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, no, it did. And I have different peers for, distance that I charge. But I also find, now I've been getting a lot of phone calls with people price shopping for general notary work. And that was what I was kind of like, wondering. And I've seen posted a lot of places increasing their prices due to the gasoline prices. So I just put it out there if that was it.
And that might be why they're price shopping. They're looking for somebody not doing that. But the other thing I want to say, if you live in a state that does not allow for you to play around with your travel fees, meaning it's mileage, and they don't care what the gas mileage, what the gas price is, it's the mileage is all you get. Or if you're in a state like North Carolina that says $5, that's all you get for the Notary Act, and $0 for travel fee. So please be cognizant of what your state says you can do. What we're talking about in terms of having a specific travel fee are in the states where you're allowed to do that.
Yep, and I love that, Laura. And here's the other thing too, and I look at this from me as a consumer. When I make buying decisions, sometimes sure, it's based on the price, depending on what I'm getting. But when it comes to a service, there's a lot more that plays into my buying decision. And it's how well the person treats me, whether they can solve my problem. And all of that, I think, has a bigger impact than a gas surcharge of literally a couple bucks or $5 or whatever it is. Like, I don't even care about $5 when I've got the person who's going to solve my problem with the attitude that makes me feel good. So and this is specifically for the specialty in the general notary work side, remember, whether it's a website or whatever it is, you're trying to drive action, whether that is the wording on your website that makes them want to book because they're like, oh man, this person knows exactly how to solve my problem, I'm booking with them right away. Or if it's to make a phone call or send a text message so I can get a chance to build a relationship, that's what you want to focus on. You can, in your own mind, you can say, whew, wow, $6.50 a gallon in California or whatever. I saw some ridiculous prices. You'll know that's happening, but we don't have to convey that to the customer and say, oh, I'm gonna charge you more because my costs are going up. They don't care. They just want their problem solved by somebody who treats them right. And if you can be that person, then you can charge almost whatever you want in some of those states. I hope that was helpful, Lisa.
Yeah, no, I got that. And I thank you so much for your insight. That's why I asked the question, because I was hemming and hawing whether it was, even worth my while to do so. So yeah. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad that you asked it, because I know it's on everybody's mind, because it's crazy. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right, Randy Venters. And yes, I do have your document up. Which one are we going to start with?
Let's start with the one that has the listing of all the different signatures or the different names.
You got it. Bear with me 1 second. All right, can you see that okay?
Yes, thank you. All right, so this is for a commercial signing, and I actually did it last week, but I have another one next week with the same company. And the same person signed, so it's John Smith, and he's signing as four different, as officers of four different companies.
Mhm.
So my question, and I tried to make it a little bit more simplified so it was easier to read, because the first time I did it, it took me like 15 minutes to look at every signature and figure out the difference between each one. But my question is, technically I'm notarizing signatures for four different entities, correct? Because it's three different companies, but if you look at number 3, he's a manager of company C, but he's also a manager of company B. So that's different than just being in the manager of company B. Is that correct?
So he's signing in 4 different capacities
Yes. Yes, thank you.
on a single document.
Yes, there's one document that he's signing. It's like 12 pages long, and he's signing on that one document as 4 different capacities.
4 separate signatures, each with a different capacity, correct?
Yes, yes.
Clear as mud.
Yeah. And of course, your state does allow for you to certify somebody's representative capacity in your certificates. So you could have, if they wanted his signature, let's say, acknowledged 4 different ways because he's representing 4 different entities, you certainly can do that.
Okay, so my question is, I guess, so I'm notarizing, I'm gonna have 4 different notarial blocks for one for each signature. And then when I go to record it in my journal, am I recording it as 4 different entities or just as one, and then noting that? And so Bill, can you go to the next? So I guess, Bill, can you go to the next one, which is the integrity journal? So I use the integrity journal, and at the top, it has a spot for 4 different signers. Am I gonna list him 4 times and put each one as the different person? Or am I just gonna list him 1 time and then note it in the next page and the notes that he signed it as a different capacity?
If I was filling, if I have to fill out 4 separate notarial blocks, I'm notarizing his signature a little differently, right? 4 different ways. Then I would, for me, I would probably do the top, but since you only have to collect, tick off a certain amount of information, it's not that difficult. The opposite would be true. You could have them one way, because you still identified them only one way. And then note in the note section, which there's plenty of space there, signed in capacities of this, that, and the other thing. I think you could go either way based on your state's journal rules. And that's what we need to remember, is that some states don't have any requirements about what goes in the journal. Some states are very specific about what needs to happen for every notarization. And some states are a little muddy about what they want. So I would take in consideration what is your state's requirements per notarization for recording in a journal. That's where I would start. And then using the journal that you're using, how would I accommodate that?
Okay, because what I did was, when I met with him last week, and I had him sign, I did it as 4 different people, and I listed, John Smith, manager of A, John Smith, manager of B, as 4 different people. And then I noted, with the circles of which document he signed in which capacity, and then I made him sign the bottom 4 different times.
Well, I think you got it all. I mean, you may not have had to do as much as you did, but certainly the way you did it captured it all. It was the same person, the same signer, but he was signing in different capacities. And normally I'd say you just do the signer and then in the note say, and this capacity, this one. But if you had 4 separate notarizations, that means you need to pick up the one document. And then you're going to have like 4 acknowledgements, right? Acknowledgement times 4.
Right.
Right. And then you could, in the notes, put here were all the different capacities that I notarized this guy's signature as, and that would have captured it all.
Okay. Right. Because he's like, oh, I've never had to sign the notary book 4 times. I only signed it once. And I was like, okay. So I was just trying to figure out kind of the best practice with that journal of how how to go about it.
You could have done that. His signature, when he signed, the capacity was just typed under the signature line, correct? He didn't sign.
Yes, he only signed his name. He never signed manager
Right.
of whatever.
So
Yes.
he was one person and one signature, but he signed in several different capacities. So I think I would have grabbed the line entry for the guy. I would have indicated there were 4 separate acknowledgements for the same document. And in the notes, I would have put, these were all the capacities that he signed in.
Okay. All right. Thank you
That's
very
how I would
much.
have approached it. In California, I don't have to deal with that. I can't
Okay.
even certify that, but that's how I would have done it if I could.
Okay. And then I had another quick question on, I forgot what lender it is, but I've had twice in the last week that on their signature name affidavit, the person signs all their variations of their names.
Mhm.
And then for the notarial block, after their signature, the first line says, I certify that John Smith and John A. Smith are one and the same, and then it has the notarial language. I don't really feel comfortable with me certifying that just because the person signed saying that they're both John and John A. I don't feel comfortable saying that I certify that they're the same person. Am I overthinking that?
So the rule of thumb here with AKAs in the certificate is you can only put the names you can prove. They can sign a million different ways in the document itself, but for the certificate, if he has identification that shows he's both names, then you would put AKA the other name. If he cannot prove that he has both names, then you would only put the name that you can prove in the certificate.
Okay. All right. So what do I do if they're all pre-printed and I can't prove that he's those other names?
I'd replace the certificate and only put the names you can prove.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, great questions, Randy. Thanks for bringing those.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. We're going to pause real quick because without even realizing it, Randy gave us a perfect segue to introduce you to Kim Flanagan and her new journal. Guys, we talk a lot about the Integrity Journal. We all love the Integrity Journal. We talk a lot about Notary e-Journal by Jurat Inc. for those who want to do the electronic journal. And now, through lots of hard work and creativity, Kim Flanagan out of California and owner of Notary Ally has created the Notary Ally Journal. Kim, are you with us?
I am. I'm here. Thank you so much, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I love being a notary, and I love when I meet my clients. I want them to feel like they're in really good hands, and I want them to feel at ease. And when I'm at a signing, I want to feel knowledgeable and professional and efficient and organized. And I was longing for some really high quality notary tools that would help me feel that way and kind of elevate the whole experience for me and my clients. And I'm also one that appreciates, like, Bill, I loved your email from Sunday with your passion for paper, because that's kind of me. I'm a paper nerd. I'm an office product nerd. I love good tools. I love things that work well. I love things that are efficient. And I set out to just start designing some tools that worked well for me and that would elevate the experience for me and my clients. And I created a couple of products for loan signing agents. I actually have different specialties. I have some products for notaries that specialize in loan signings. I have some for ones that specialize in reverse mortgages. And I'm working with some estate planning attorneys as well. But I just really want it to be a positive experience for everybody. So I developed some products that I use, really high quality products. I use heavier quality paper than what you normally see out there. I also have color printing. So I did things that I would want and that I enjoy using, and they function really well for me and they function really well for my clients. And I'm thrilled to be able to now offer them to other notaries as well. And my website for those is called notaryallies.com. That's notaryallies.com. And you can view the different products and things there. But I just wanted to let you know that they really do work super well, and clients do notice them. So they show up in my 5-star reviews. They show up in clients from my customers. I think almost every signing at some point, someone will compliment me and it'll come out that I love being a notary. And they always say one of two things: I can tell, or it shows. And I think that one of the ways that that comes across is I use quality tools, and they see it and they feel it and they know it. And I don't know how many of you have come across this, but many times when I'm at a signing, a client will say, I used to be a notary. Well, you know what? When they see the Notary Ally journal, that it's in color and it's heavy pages, they're all over it. They can't stop touching it. So we have, again, we've got journals, and we also have like a contact information form, client intake form, that's more of a preparation document or a reference document, and they work hand in hand. So if you're preparing ahead of time, I always say when you prepare, it shows you care. So if you use the client information form and you just jot down key contacts that you might need when you're at the table, your escrow officer number, an after hours phone number, maybe the file number in case you have to reference it. So there's all kinds of little details like that. But on the back of the client information form that you can fill out ahead of time are details about all of the notarizations. And they're done pre-printed. They're super easy to check off as you're reviewing the documents. And if you fill that out and use it with a journal, I've used it with the NNA journal before I made my Notary Ally journal, it really speeds up your signing. And if you use it with the Notary Ally journal, it's super fast. It usually takes me about 3 seconds per document. Check, 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 and it's done. So the clients love it when they're finished. I'm doing it while they're signing and flipping pages, and I can go ahead and transfer all my stuff into the journal. They sign their last document. It's like, guess what? One more thing to sign, the journal, and we're done. So it's really cool. So anyway, that was just really brief. The journal itself is designed to lie flat. So it's really easy to write on. It opens all the way up when you open it. And the binding's at the top so that it doesn't get in the way whether you're writing right-handed or left-handed. It's in color, it's heavy paper. There's little prompts there that you can remember to check off that the client was aware and willing. They check off if you gave them an oath for every for every jurat, and they initial that, so that can help you if it's ever challenged in court. There's a section for credible witnesses for all their information and making sure that you're getting their sign off that you gave them oaths. So there's all kinds of neat little things and a lot of details that you can easily just do check boxes to describe details about every single document. So it's really robust, even though it's it appears to be kind of simple. So that's kind of a general overview. Do you have any other? What do you think, Bill? What else can I mention?
No, I think that's awesome. Thank you for the overview. And I know you talk about it. So let me turn it to an unused page here. But this paper, and I love when I first went to, can you see the color squares there, guys? I just fell in love with this. It really increases it taps into my paper nerd for sure. But I remember when Kim first showed this to me when I met her in Palm Springs, and I touched the paper, I couldn't stop touching the journal. And I loved that feeling. So thank you, Kim, for bringing this additional value. Also, you guys hear a lot, especially Laura, talking about how important it is to have a customer intake form. So when you get your specialty or general notary work calls in, just a guide to help walk you through the conversation, Kim has created a phenomenal intake form for that on both the loan signing side and on the specialty notary work side. So it's extremely valuable that way.
Yeah, and a reverse mortgage one too. So it was just far too much writing on my own to make notes and write it. And this just makes it so easy. And by the way, I do have a coupon code for TNT viewers today, and capitals TNT10. And that's 10% off all journals through the end of March. And it also includes free shipping and a free client information form that comes with it. So that's like a $40 value between all that. So TNT10 on notaryallies.com for all journals through the end of March.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kim. And I know Laura,
Thank you.
Laura, you've checked out some of these products too. Any comments on this?
Well, although, I use an e-journal, I want to say I rely on the intake forms myself. And that's what I take to a general appointment with me. I'm on the phone, I pull it out, I start filling things out. So I know things like, am I going to a gated community? And if I am, do I need a code or am I going to do the call box thing? And there's some other prompts for me that I don't always remember. And some things are, is this person calling for themselves, or what's their relationship to the signer? Because when I see what the relationship, that might prompt for a bunch of other questions that I need to ask. So having those prompts rather than having it in my head makes me more consistent. And it also helps me work out potential issues while I'm still on the phone, rather than me getting there and finding out. And so it's mostly filled out by the time I go there. And if there's any potential issues, I've probably figured them out also. And sometimes it means we reschedule, or they'll say, oh, I didn't know I had to have that. So it really helps my intake process for non-loan signing appointments, because that's what I'm using it for, be much smoother and much more likely to go through all the way when I take the time to do that. So I love them. I've been using them for a couple months now and can't say enough about them.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. And I just love supporting notaries who tap into the reality that this industry is ripe for innovation, and the people who have the courage to step into that and create for the rest of us. So Kim, I honor you for that. Thank you so much for sharing your process and all your tools. I remember even 2 years ago, Kim just has a knack for creating and finding the coolest stuff and piecing it together, connecting the dots on how to create an efficient flow and process and create some professionalism around her appointments. So thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
Hey, Bill, can I ask Kim a question real quick?
Yeah. Hey, Randy.
Hey, Kim, I'm trying to look at it online on my phone. It looks like it's designed for one signer per page. Is that correct?
Yes, it is designed for one signer so it's got one signer, and it has over 3 dozen pre-printed documents for loan signings or reverse mortgage signings. But there's also at least 6 large areas where you can hand write other documents in that aren't pre-printed. So all of the journals can not only accommodate loan signings, but they can also accommodate general notary work, trust signings, that kind of thing.
Okay, so if I'm doing a loan signing, it's husband and wife, I have to use 2 pages.
Yes, but it actually goes really easy. So when I first go into a signing and I've got their IDs out, when you're filling out your Patriot Act form and things, I open up the journal, I fill in the one name, address, ID, flip the page, fill out the other name, address, ID. And as I'm doing the signing, if I have my client information forms pre-done, I can start checking off all my documents for the journal. By the time they're finished, all they're doing is signing the journal and getting their fingerprint. We're good to go. So it's a lot simpler than it first appears. There's a lot of typing. Just remember, the more that's pre-typed, the less you have to write.
Awesome. Great question. Thank you, Randy. Thank you again, Kim. If you have any questions, check out notaryallies.com. And I know Kim is very attentive to those questions. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
TNT
you
10.
so much. TNT 10 for 10% off plus the client intake forms. All right, let's roll on. We got some other great questions here. Yolanda Anderson, thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience. What state are you in and how can we help? Yolanda, you're not muted, but we can't hear you. I'm going to mute you and we'll come back to you. Lloyd LeBlanc, thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you. I have two quick questions, actually. I attended the Texas Notaries call with you and Laura last weekend, and I had 2 questions then, but had to drop from the call, unfortunately, because of signings. So I'll ask them here. The first question is, if I'm meeting with one person who's signing for themselves and as power of attorney or attorney in fact for someone else, when we're signing through the signature name affidavit or the AKA statement, and the principal signer that they're signing on behalf of has 5 or so AKAs listed that they're supposed to sign, how should the attorney in fact handle those signature lines?
So Lloyd, those are signatures within the document, and I would need to have the direction from whoever hired me as to how the variations should be signed when they're signing in that capacity. Because that would be the unauthorized practice of law for me to direct them how to sign that signature.
Okay,
And that would
Thank you.
be every time, no matter what I'm doing, when somebody has to assign particular ways within the document, then it's not for the notary to determine what the right way is.
I see. Understood. Okay. My second question is similar for attorney in fact, or not even attorney in fact, my apologies. If let's say it's a signing through a trust,
Mhm.
or the capacity is a member manager through some
Mhm.
sort of entity,
Right.
and the signature lines include the signer's name, comma, either member manager or whatever their capacity is, or all of that additional trust verbiage. In the past, I've had some title companies say only have the signer sign their name, and I've had other title companies say have the signer sign everything as it's printed. Is
Mhm.
there a hard and fast rule that I should follow when I'm not able to get through to the client to have them advise?
Right. There's not a hard and fast rule. Actually, I wish there was. Because as you just stated, sometimes they want it this way, sometimes they want it that way. And as the notary, I don't know which is the right way. Because it could be either. And I don't know, Bill, if you have more knowledge or something, but I, again, cannot be that determiner of how they sign it. Because that's the unauthorized practice of law for me. I should have gotten instruction in my confirmation, or somebody needs to be available to me. Otherwise, they're going to have to choose how they're going to sign it.
I totally agree. So Lloyd, even to this day, when I have a trustee, trust assignment, or what we see on the commercial side a lot is comma president, comma member, comma manager, all of those, I ask every single time how they want it signed, because I would expect, especially on trust documents, they have that new verbiage. They created the new verbiage that should have clarified everything, right? I'm signing as both as individual and as trustee of the Smith Family Trust. You'd think that would clarify things, but it does not. Some lenders still want the trustee after it. Some do not. Some get mad if you add the trustee and they don't want it. So there is no hard and fast rule. I ask every single time. And you know what's weird? Even on my commercial deals, which are totally different, the escrow officer has to go to the lender every single time I ask. They're like, oh, I don't know, let me ask the lender. Every single time they have to go up the chain on it because nobody knows the answer to this. And ultimately the lender's the boss, right? They're the ones on the hook for that, the liability of that contract. So it's going to be their decision. So if you ever see trust, trustee, any of those capacity type signings, that would be the first question I would fire off. As soon as you accept it, how do they want it signed?
Thank you. I learned pretty quickly when I had my first one that as soon as those documents are uploaded in whatever portal I'm using for the client, to review the documents as fast as I can to identify if that's part of the signature line and to ask the question immediately so that we're not scrambling at the table to figure it out. So
Right.
thank you. I appreciate that. I just wanted to add one last thing. The call for Texas Notaries with you and Laura was absolutely fabulous and great and informative. And I appreciate the opportunity to have joined it. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for the feedback. Isn't that awesome, Laura?
That is awesome. Thanks. And thanks for saying it in public. Checks in the mail.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you're wondering what Lloyd might be talking about, Laura is making her way through most of the country on Zoom, doing the real world notary training for those states, teaching you how to take notary law, best practices, and actually apply it to your everyday business. And we just finished Texas and California and have some new states coming up in the coming months. So we'll keep you posted on that. Yolanda, thank you, Lloyd. Yolanda, you want to try unmuting one more time to ask your question? I see that it's written here. So if it doesn't work, I'll ask it out loud.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. You can hear me?
Yeah.
I can, loud and
Oh,
clear.
okay, finally. I don't know what was going on. Yeah, so I wrote that message to you. So I just got a message from Laura, so I think I did the wrong thing. It happened to me, I neglected to write or print in the signer's name. So the closing company emailed me, asked for permission to print it in. It was already notarized. I said, well, send me a copy once you print the names in. They did, everything was correct. And this was a package that I did not scan back. So it was sent to them. They did not have scans of the documents. They had them in hand. So I figured, okay, give them permission, have them send me a copy once they print the names in. They did, and I left it at that. But that's why I just wanted to come in the future. Is that something that should not have been done?
Right, Yolanda, we cannot let anybody else fill out information for us in our certificate. We can certainly, in states where corrections are allowed, there's a process that would be in your handbook about the provision. If it's not addressed, then there is a standard recommendation, which is get the document back, make the correction, document in your journal what you did, and get it back to them. And that's good, except for Florida and California.
Okay.
We're not allowed to correct, but we can never tell somebody else they can do it.
Okay, and that's what I thought, but then after I did it, that was the thought after the fact. Maybe I should have just said, send back the document, I'll correct it, get it back to you, but
Sure.
okay, I'll know for the next time.
Definitely. Thank you for bringing that up, Yolanda. Truly appreciate it.
No, thank you all.
Thank you. Cynthia Jordan from Texas, welcome.
Hello, Bill. Hello, Laura. Lloyd took all the words out of my mouth. I was just going to thank you for the training on Saturday. It was awesome. I have been waiting and waiting. You know, we're on the TNT calls and they're like, we're going to be in such and such state. We're going to be in. So I'm like, when are you coming? When are you doing Texas? You know, so I was very excited and it was very informative. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh,
You're welcome.
awesome. Thank you so much for that, Cynthia. And I'm glad you were able to make it there. Janae Blatch from Florida. Welcome, Janae.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Laura. Hey, everyone. And I too can co-sign about your signings, your trainings. I did the first Florida one. And I still have to go back to my notes all the time on that. So it's very, very helpful. So speaking of that, there was one question that I did have for Florida. And I have keep notes in my phone for my Notary Titan questions. This is so helpful. The question I had is, I know that we can't be a witness in Florida we can be a witness and a notary, but for POAs, you can't, power of attorneys, like general notary work. However, but in the real estate documents, when there is a limited POA, is that the same or is that different? That's my first small question.
Well, I think it's a good question. And, you know, what I saw in the law for the power of attorney, it was speaking to the durable power of attorney.
Right.
Which is different than the limited power of attorney in a real estate signing, which is specifically to take care of clerical errors in that document. But I don't recall that limited power of attorney having to be witnessed.
In Florida, I see it's witnessed all the time. Not witnessed, but it's notarized.
Yeah, it is notarized.
Right. But there was one, okay, so it was from a real estate attorney's office. And I see it a lot in their packages where there's a power of attorney just in case someone can't sign. So they can maybe assign their child, their son or daughter or their realtor to be the POA for that closing. But it's not a durable power of attorney.
Right. So I think that would take more investigation. I do believe that limited power of attorney for real estate is not what was meant in the code. They were talking about durable powers of attorney. And this is very specific. So at first blush, I would say it shouldn't be a problem. However, that is not listed. That is not named in the law where I saw the prohibition to be both. That's what makes me think it's not what they were after.
Okay.
But I think that it takes more. Sometimes we have to look at other resources. And the resource, I'm sorry, my pen fell over. my resource for that would be what code is it that I find wills and healthcare directives and powers of attorney. For me, it's in probate code. I don't know if it's in probate code for Florida. I would Google code for powers of attorney, right? Legal code for powers of attorney. And that's where I would search, because they would have in there what makes it legal, meaning how is it executed, and if it has to be witnessed or if it has to be notarized, that's where you would find it. So I will look at that. Florida Limited POA Real Estate documents code. So I can't answer it right now, but I'm sharing with you how I would go about finding that answer. So if other people want to look for answers in their own state, that's how I would go about doing it.
Okay.
But I'll look this one up.
Laura, even if it was legal, would you recommend it?
It's never a recommended practice. So if you can find a way not to be both, that's what's recommended. You want more eyeballs on that document, not just yours. So in the meantime, I'd say don't do it unless you absolutely have to. And then we need to know what the code says. I have a feeling it's going to say it's only specific to the one that I mentioned. But I want everybody else to be able to fish. So that means you need to know how to look something up and where you got to go. And it's not probate code for all states. It is for a lot of states, but not for all. So that's how I start. And then I look to see what does it take to make that document legal. Okay.
Gotcha.
And I'll have to get back to you on this one.
No problem. Thanks, Laura. And my other question is, I don't get these often, but for Georgia properties, because I'm in Florida, I've seen this signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah.
Is that a signature witness? Because I know we're not allowed to do that, but is that called signature witnessing?
It is, and it's very important on their deeds because they can't record without that act. So when you're in Florida and you don't have signature witnessing, you need to call somebody and find out if there's a way to modify what's there so that you could use it. So for instance, you might be able to insert the word acknowledged in there so that you would be calling it an acknowledgement, but it also said it was signed in front of you and the witness.
Okay, so we could modify it for Florida if we.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it on my own. I always check first to get direction to see, do they want to send me a different certificate? For instance, Georgia has one that's for California. So that when I call, they say, oh yeah, we got that covered. And it was something like signed, sealed, delivered, and acknowledged. I mean, they stuck acknowledgement somewhere. And then I was able to use it. Now, the other issue for Florida is you have like 9 elements that need to be there. So you would have to, do you have your stamp that says method of ID and method of appearance? Do you have a stamp that does that, or do you just handwrite that?
I handwrite it.
Okay, so you would probably need to just handwrite that in, and then if you get the word acknowledged in there somewhere, you're probably going to be able to use that, but get direction first.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Great
Thank
question.
you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right, Tim. Thanks for being here and raising your hand. What state are you in and how can we help? Tim, there he is. Tim, if you're talking, we can't hear you, but you're not on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure can.
There we go. I'm in the state of Tennessee, close to Nashville. I just got my notary. I have not been bonded yet because my ultimate goal is to become a loan signing agent. And I was curious what would be the best way for me to get proper training so I would know the laws and regulations as far as being a notary, first of all, and secondly, as being a loan signing agent.
Yeah, well, welcome to the industry, Tim. So that to me is a 2-part question. Laura, when it comes to notary specific resources and guidance, what recommendations do you have?
Well, have you taken a notary essentials class by the NNA? Have you taken some kind of formal training?
No, I have not. There's so many resources online and I was just curious which would be the best one.
Sure. So you can, look around. I will say that the NNA does have an essentials course, which is a little over an hour, and it's for new notaries, and it talks about your basic notarial acts and if there's journaling, what's required there. So that would be my first recommendation, to just basic notarization work. That's where I'd get started. In addition, gosh, I think I teach a Tennessee real world class. I just haven't delivered it, I think, publicly. I've done them just one-on-one for that. So I might be able to help you directly, because what I do is go beyond the basics to help you there. And then loan signing, you've got several different options, and it depends on who resonates with you. And I think, Bill, were you going to go after that part of the question?
Yeah, because we've got some resources for that too. And I'll just want to piggyback on the notary public side too, is your state statutes and your notary handbook. Any training that you take is going to need to be based on that. So go there and study that stuff too. And if Laura, and I know Laura does, because I think we did Tennessee at some point, Laura, but her training, that real world, will kind of walk you through how to apply what's in those statutes in your everyday business. So I think that would be a really good start. And it's super important to have the basic essential down on how to do this. And then for loan signings, of course, there's quite a few options for you right now. If you have not read my book, Sign and Thrive, Tim, it might be a really good place just to start and give yourself the overall picture. It kind of depends on how you like to do things on a micro level, or get an idea of the whole picture and then kind of drill down. My book will walk you through that entire thing. And of course, I have the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community, that course that will teach you the documents and all that good stuff. You've got Carol Ray's Notary to Pro course. You've got Mark Wills in the loan signing system. You've got lots of options that you can do, but Laura nailed it. You want to go with a teacher that resonates with you, because you're going to be hearing their voice a lot. Video modules, their strategies, their overall life philosophies on this business, and it's going to come through in everything. So those are the three options, but you can, no matter what you want to do, start with my book if you like to read, and that will give you the guidance that you need.
Okay. Is there any way that I could give you guys my email, or so you can send me some information? Is that possible? How would I do that? Would I put that in the chat, or?
No, what you could do is take, what I highly recommend is you check us out, because both, you can go to coachmelora.com. You can go to notarycoach.com. I have tons of free resources, and you can get in my orbit, and you can check out some options. You can check out the course. I offer a 7-day free trial on Sign and Thrive course. So you can just get in and tinker around and see what I'm all about and how much is in there. There's over 300 modules in my course. It's the most comprehensive course that's out there. It's packed full. Some people love that. Some people just want 5 modules and just want to get going. So it's kind of up to you and how you want to do it. But get in our orbit that way.
Okay.
Bill?
Yeah.
Bill, because I see we're getting to the end, I would love if we could have Matt make an announcement about an upcoming training for HOAs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matt, would you be available to do that?
Sure. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everyone. Matt Miller with the California League of Independent Notaries, wanting to remind everyone that we are hosting an exclusive training event for California notaries on how to become an HOA inspector of elections. This is a new growing revenue opportunity for California notaries due to a law passage a few years ago. It will be held on March 27th at 1 p.m. Paid members of the California League of Independent Notaries will be able to attend for free. If you're not a paid member, you can also buy a one-time access pass for $40. But it would behoove you to join the league because you would get access to this event, any future events we hold, the replay, a directory listing on our website, and ultimately make our voice stronger when it comes to issues that affect notaries most. And we need as many voices as possible now because we have a lot of things going on in the legislature. There's an RON bill. There's a bill that would possibly allow corrections after the fact. So I look forward to seeing everyone on March 27th for this exciting opportunity. You'll be taught by our very own Laura Biewer, who has extensive experience in this field. If you have any questions, go to calnotaries.org, click the red link at the top, and you will find out all the information you need to know, or you can feel free to reach out to me at info@calnotaries.org. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, Matt.
Awesome. I'm so excited that you guys are doing that. And just because it's coming up this Sunday as well, I just want to let you know that Jim Allen, the marketing notary, he is doing another Google My Business or Google Business Profile training just for notaries. Guys, I attended this a couple of weeks ago with an awesome crowd, and I'm still hearing rave reviews about how detailed it is. He'll literally walk you through step by step your Google Business Profile. That class is happening this Sunday, March 20th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So that's really early for us over in West Coast time. But if you'd like to attend that, I'm going to post the link to Jim's website in the chat. You can find it at, well, it's super long. So just use the info in the chat. Plus, I'll send out some emails with the replay of this so you have a link to that as well. Thank you so much for growing yourself and your business on the Tuesday. Laura, thank you for skidding in sideways and making it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.